Last week's federal budget certainly refocused the discussion on revenue and expenses for the government in trying to move the country back towards a budget surplus in the near term. It's interesting, this is against a backdrop where we are seeing economic growth being fairly modest, and that was evidenced or emphasised by the Reserve Bank cutting interest rates last week. One of the areas that's seen material changes in the budget is superannuation. To discuss this in further detail, I'm joined by Suzanne Doyle. Dr. Suzanne Doyle is our Head of Advice at StatePlus, and she's going to provide a lot more detail on what these measures may mean for our clients. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thanks, Damian. The budget really did set out some significant changes to superannuation. Firstly, when you look at the contributions that you can make, there are essentially two caps. One is the concessionally taxed contributions that someone can make. They're now going to reduce that. The proposal is to reduce that to $25,000 per annum per person. Now, the interesting thing is they're actually going to make this something you can carry forward. So if you can't make the contribution in 1 year, you can actually carry it forward to the next year. And that'll be on a rolling 5-year basis. The second cap is around what we call non-concessionally taxed contributions. Now, they're actually going to introduce a lifetime cap of $500,000 per person. So that means once you've hit the cap, you actually can't put any more in. Now, the uncertainty around this change is that it actually applied from budget night.
So Suzanne, you mentioned that people are now limited to how much money they can take out of super. Can you give us more detail there?
Yeah, another proposal is to actually reduce the amount that people can take from their superannuation over into a pension. The cap that they're proposing is $1.6 million. So that's going to limit the amount of money that people can actually take into a pension.
These changes seem quite material, Suzanne. What about if someone's transitioning to retirement?
Yeah, transition to retirement strategies were absolutely called out in this budget paper. They're going to propose a change to the taxation on the pension part of these strategies, which means that they're no longer really going to be used for tax-effective savings. They're really going to be used for genuinely people who are reducing their working hours. So again, if you are using a TTR strategy at the moment, it's probably worth a look at that just to see how that's going to play out.
With all these changes that are occurring, what else should people do?
Yeah. Look, most of these changes don't take effect, or they're planned not to take effect until the 1st of July 2017. So there's no need to act that urgently. We really need to wait and see how the election plays out, and also how these changes actually present themselves once they become law. So that said, if you do have one of these strategies because you're close to retirement, you may be looking at making a big contribution because you know this is your last years of work, it would be good to check in with your planner and just to make sure that they're still okay.
Thanks, Suzanne. Obviously, you can see that there's a lot happening with regard to superannuation in the budget, and we'll look to keep you informed as things progress. Thanks for joining us.